I'm Andrew Henry with IT, IT Help Desk Support. Um, I appreciate you guys coming here on a good Friday. I'm gonna try to be speedy. Um, so let's get this going. All right, so I'm just gonna go through a couple of IT tips and tricks that might be beneficial. That should be beneficial for you and your staff. You can just follow along. You can have your computer open and follow along if you like. If you do have your computer open, I I want you to follow along, not Teams and the person next to you saying this guy stinks or whatever case may be. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So what we're going to review, we're going to review Microsoft 365 applications, which is Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint. 365 applications, it it covers a lot more, but we're going to cover those things right now. We have storage and saving documents, credible calendar integration, and general troubleshooting tips. Some tips I'm showing you guys, it might, guys and gals, it might it might um it might be a little basic, and you might know how to do it. So if you do know how to do it, shout out to you, and just follow along. Okay. So all roads lead to Rome. Just because I'm showing you one way how to do it, is there's multiple ways you could do this. Okay. Um, just because I'm showing you one way. I use the native application, Outlook, OneDrive, Word, the SharePoint. I use the native application, but if you use different ways to how to do these things, that's okay. All right. Many ways to skin a cat. So the 365 suite is what we use to get our domain. Anytime that you see at WTCSB.org, we use the Microsoft 365 suite to get our domain. And 365 suite, it gives us access to the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, OneDrive, rest of these applications that you see up the top. So anytime that you log into Google Chrome or you're on a browser, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and it's asking for your email address, and you might be and you might trying to sign into your OneDrive or your Outlook, you always want to refer back to your at WTCSB password. Okay, that's the same password you use every time you log in the morning. And it's not to be confused with your boot password. Your boot password is when you power your computer, you turn it back on, and that boot password is WTCSB, a couple of numbers, and a special character. All right, that's your boot password. Your login password is the one that you type in when you use your first initial, last name, and then your password. All right, we're all good. We're gonna run through this. All right. So the Microsoft Web Interface app versus the native app. All right. The Web Interface app, that's when I know a lot of people, they go through Google Chrome, they go through Microsoft Edge to get to their emails, and to get to their OneDrive and things of that nature. I'm gonna go through how to do these things in a native application. When I say native application, that means going through the application that's on your desktop. All right. So I'm gonna show you guys real quick what when I say the web interface and when I say native application. All right. So I'm on my desktop right now. Right. A lot of people will just go through Google Chrome and we go to the SharePoint. You click the waffle on the left hand side, and you'll go to your Outlook right here. And a lot of people, I don't want to so y'all know pertinent information.
Background get, but it's cool already.
So they got different layouts and different kind of themes you could use. All right. So how many people in here use Google Chrome to check their Outlook? This right. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. So this is fine. Like I said, there's multiple ways you could to skin the cat. All roads lead to Rome. You could check your email this way. But anything I will be going through today, we using the native application. Okay. It's just Microsoft on when you go through the internet, it doesn't have the same kind of functionalities that it has with the native applications. Like you can't create rules and you can't do specific things in the web interface that you can do in the native application. All right. So this is the web interface. When I say native application, I mean the icon that's on your desktop, right? So this is the the native application. This is the regular Outlook. Yours might look a little different. Some people might use the new Outlook. I still use the old Outlook because it still has all the functionalities in it. All right. So we all good? Yeah. Get me? Okay, good. All right. So we're gonna run through some Outlook tips first. All right. Everybody has a signature in the Outlook. Like I said, some things might be real basic, but some people might not know how to do. All right. Everybody has a signature in Outlook. Signature typically consists of your first and last name, your program, maybe title, and contact information. All right. So this is just a quick directions on how to create a signature in Outlook. If you're not familiar on how to do it, I'm gonna show y'all real quick. You want to come to File. You want to go into Options. Another window will pop up. You want to click on Mail and create or modify signatures for messages. I have a couple signatures here I created for test purposes. But yeah, these are signatures right here, and you want to select when you create a new message or respond to a message, you want to choose a signature that you want to use anytime that you reply or create a message. In this case, I'm using the WTCSB signature that I created. That's that one right there. Any questions, concerns, anything? We're all good. All right. So it's, like I said, some things are basic and some things we just fly right by. Okay, so how many people Outlook may look like this? Like there's no reading pane on the side. Sometimes your inbox folder might be gone. I personally don't like this view right here because you have to click inside the message for the message the window to pop up. All right, when you click inside the message, and before you know it, you have 20 emails popped up, and your computer's using more resources, and it's slowing down your computer. All right, so if you like your messages like that, like I said, different strokes for different folks. All right, if you like your Outlook look like this, that's fine. But I like having my reading pane to the side. So when I click in the message, it comes up to the side like this. All right. So I don't have to click into the message and have a whole new window open up. And if I click to the message again, if I open another email, I have a whole nother window popping up. So that's just a nice way to just read your emails. So so let's say you open up your Outlook for whatever reason, because we get tickets like this all the time, and your Outlook looks like this right here. You're not sure how it got that way, so I'm gonna show you how to do it. So when you're in your Outlook, you click on View. You want to come to Reading pane to the right, and you want to put your reading pane to the right. And now when you click in the message, you see the preview of the message before you actually can click into it. And you could add your folder pane add a folder pane normal, and you can have your inbox and your everything else to the left. Your inbox and all your folders that you created to your left. All right? You all following? Okay. Okay, these are just slides on how to change your view, and we went through that. Okay. The participants that's on Zoom, can y'all hear me fine? I just want to make sure. Can I get a yay or a nay in the chat? Okay, so we're gonna talk about creating folders in Outlook. Okay, thank you, Brittany. We're gonna talk about creating folders in Outlook, all right? So it's always nice to create folders in Outlook because it gives you better it lets you organize your folders better, and it has time management, and it improves productivity. Storage management is better. collaboration collaboration. Okay. So me personally, I create folders for when I get badges from HR and they want to activate a new and we get a new staff or somebody got a new badge, I create a folder, and anytime I get an email for badges, it goes into the badge folder. All right. Hey Andrew, how you doing? All right. So is everybody familiar with creating a folder in your inbox? Okay. So if you're not familiar, I'm gonna show you right quick. So I'm in Outlook right now, right? I'm gonna right click my inbox folder. I'm gonna click new folder, and now we're gonna name the folder. We're gonna name the folder test. So now I have a test folder. I have one already, so we're gonna name it test two. So now I have a test two folder. There's nothing in the folder right now, but I'm gonna create a rule. So anything, so when somebody sends me an email, it's gonna go in the test two folder. So it's nice to have separate folders and separate folders so you can organize your inbox better. Okay. Does anybody are y'all familiar with creating a rule in Outlook? Anybody familiar with creating rules? Okay. Heather's good with it. Okay. So to create a rule in Outlook, it's a good way so you don't have to manually like put messages in certain folders and it automatically do it for you once you receive the message. Okay. Like if like Miss Betty, she might receive a lot of messages from a residential staff. If you create a rule, you can make it so anytime that you receive an email from residential staff, it goes to this residential folder. All right. Things like that. Miss Moore, same way. If you want all the building maintenance to go on a certain folder, you could do that. If it comes from Tony and it says something to do with the building, you could move it to the building folder. All right. So real quick, I'm gonna show you how y'all could do that. So I'm in Outlook, we're gonna click on file and we're gonna click on manage rules and alerts. I have a couple rules. I have a couple rules I created here already. I'm gonna make a new rule. And in this rule, I'm going to use messages from someone to a folder. And then it says apply this rule when a message arrives from people or public group. All right. So in this particular rule, I'm going to use David as an example. I'm sweating like I'm preaching up here. Oh, I thought it was Sunday service. I thought it was Good Friday. Oh, my time passed right there. I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate you. All right. So apply this rule from after the message arrived from David Hopkins and move to the specific folder. All right. So I'm gonna move it to the test folder we just created.
Don't put me in deleted items.
You know, I'd be tempted, David. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So I'm gonna move it into that test two folder that I created. Okay. It says apply this rule after the message arrives from David Hopkins and move it to the test two folder. So I'm gonna click next. We can add more rules to it. So more conditions to it. So I'm gonna check with specific words in the subject. All right. So so David usually sends me emails about our red flag or a red flag is our emergency notification system. So he sends me updates so I can upload it into red flag. So I'm going to type red flag. Hopefully something. with specific words in the subject. So anytime I get red flag in the subject, it should move into a specific folder. I'm gonna click next. What do you want to do with the message? Move it to a specific folder. I'm gonna click next. You could add any exceptions if any messages except if from people or public groups. So I'm gonna leave that alone right now. All right. I'm gonna click next, and I'm gonna run the rule now in my messages that's already in my inbox. So I have a couple of messages right now, and it should be running the rule. All right. I'm gonna click apply. I'm gonna click OK. So there's nothing. David, can you send me a message with a red flag in the subject line, please, sir? Thank you.
One word, no space, or
Yeah, all one word. All one word. So y'all get a real time example on how this works, okay? I probably deleted David messages already. That's why nothing moving there. Okay.
it's going to.
Okay. So let's see. Please import. Okay, you see it's in my inbox folder, but you see if I go on the test two folder I just created, oh, it was unread. It was my messages were read already, so that's why it didn't show. But you see, I have all my messages from red flag that David sent is in my red flag folder. So this is something nice to have if you usually stay on top of something, and your staff just always like you get. I know a lot of people, y'all have different programs, and I'm not going to jump in my mind trying to figure out what everybody doing here, but there's good reason for y'all to utilize the rules. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Example is I get all AP ad emails, I get all AE ad emails,
Right.
I get certain payroll related emails, but I get web grants from the state. Each one of those has their own folder so that it automatically goes there. I also have a special setup that if somebody sends it to AP ad and also sends it to Heather, it goes to my inbox instead of my AP box, because I'm not reading every AP email because I have 3 other people who are reading those emails. We don't need 4 people doing the same job. Same goes for RepPayee. I have a RepPayee manager managing that email thread. But if somebody tags me directly, it comes to my inbox. It flags me to know that I need to look at it myself.
So that's a good example for Heather. And like I said, I'm not going to try to specify what everybody does, but creating rules are a good way for things to be automated in your Outlook. So you don't have to keep scouring through your emails, or I didn't get that, or whatever the case may be. Okay. So we're gonna move on real quick.
Get up. Hand over.
Oh, Stephanie Hayes. Let's see. She had a hand up. Yes, Miss Hayes.
So
can you unmute yourself and talk? Yeah. Can you?
what?
Oh, okay. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I get creating rules and all of that. I mean, and I know you're not specifically going through what everyone is doing, but I do have a quick question because with me creating some of my rules, like some of Morgan's emails will go to like specific folders that I've created. Say, for instance, I've created like a HUD folder.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, her emails will go there, some of them, and or Andrew's will go there. So I'm just trying to see, what can I do to correct that?
So it's probably a specific rule or condition that you may have in your rules that's that's shooting Andrew emails and the other person emails to that specific folder. It's a one-off. We'll come. I'll come look at it later. All right.
Okay.
Or you can put a ticket in. We'll come look at it as soon as possible.
All right.
I said it with a smile on my face. All right. I'm gonna come see you after the class.
I'm not in the office today, but okay.
Oh, okay. I got you. I'll see you soon.
Cool.
Okay. So we're gonna move on. Talked about the rules already. I created short videos and all the slideshows, but I don't like hearing myself talk, so we're not gonna listen to them. And I'm going through them, so it's all right. So we're gonna talk about creating contact groups in Outlook. All right, this is a nice way to create. This is a good way to if you're always emailing a specific group of people instead of constantly typing the email in, typing 10 folks email in at one time. You could just create a group and name the group and then type the group name in, and then you could populate the email. Like I said, this is a good way for, like I said, Miss Betty, when she have a different residential staff, she could make a Wilkins group, Bears group, things of that nature, and put the specified. I'm picking on you because I work on you a lot. I work with you a lot, and I know what you do. So I just know, yeah. So you could just create a group, name it, and put the specified people in there, and you could just always email the group. And once you create the group in your Outlook, it syncs across your 365. All right. So anytime that you want to share a document or create a team or something like that, you could just put the group name in, and all the people will populate in there. All right. The difference between from when IT creates a group and when you create a group, when we create a group is organization, right? Anybody could see that group, and based on certain permissions, you could email the group, or we can add the group, certain things. But when you create a group, it's your contact group, and only you could contact the people in the group, and only you can see the group. You can share that group contact with somebody else so they can have it. Let's say if Miss Betty, once again, let's say Miss Betty creates a Wilkins group and she wants to share that group with somebody else, she can do that. All right. I know IT, we call them a container with all residential staff in there. But like I said, it's not specified by house, so it's just all residential staff. So like if you want to have a group for each house individually, you could do that. And I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick. So I'm in Outlook right now. I have I'm on the people's tab to the left, and I have I'm gonna click on new contact group. Miss Alicia, are you following along? All right, thank you. So embarrassed. So embarrassed. All right, so I'm gonna click on new contact group. All right. I'm gonna name this particular group. I'm gonna name it
Well, I don't have new group on.
on yours. Are you using the new Outlook or nah, go ahead, Dave. Sit down, Dave. You attend. Okay.
They have.
All right, so I clicked on new contact group. I'm gonna name my group, and I'm gonna name it the IT team. Right. So I named the IT team. I'm gonna click on add members, and I'm gonna add members from the address book. So we have a global address list right here with all the users that's a part of the WTCSB network. All right. And for this particular example, I'm gonna use David. I'm going to use Wayne, and I'm gonna use Valerie. Williams. I'm gonna click OK. I added those 3 people to my IT team group, and I'm gonna click Save and Close. All right. So now I have a group right here in my people section, right? So if I wanted to, I could just click Send Email from right here. When I click Send Email, it's populated my email, and it says IT team on to my 2. And when I click the plus, it would expand, and it will have all the people I added to the group. All right. So let me close this out real quick. So let's say I'm gonna compose a new email. Like I said, people get email the same people every so often. I'm gonna type IT team, and the email and the composer's right there. So this is just a nice way to just have your own custom groups, and you could add people in there, and you could shoot emails to the groups at any time without having to type in 10, 15 people in the two sections. All right. Okay. And like I said, that it shares across your whole 365. So if, when you're in Teams or if you want to share a particular file to somebody in your OneDrive, you could just select that.
On that.
Yes, sir.
So I know it's supposed to share across
Mhm.
our 365, but I found that my groups do not share across.
You say your groups do not that you create? Okay, so we'll take a look at that also. Okay. All right. Pretty sure everybody's familiar with their calendar these days, right? Like I told the previous class, it's not on my calendar. You forgot about. All right, I'm to that age now that if I can't see it visually, you're done. All right, so make sure if you need some help, make sure you book with me because if I'm supposed to meet you at Northgate at 9 o'clock, I'm probably sitting in here somewhere. Okay, so everybody's familiar with their calendar, correct? Everybody's familiar with scheduling appointments and booking rooms. So, but we're gonna go through that real. All right, so I'm in my calendar. Oh, let me get there. I'm in my calendar right now. And clicking on home. All right, so you want to click new appointment or you want to click new meeting. So when you click on new appointment, you just making a you're not inviting, and if you're not inviting anybody, it's just a bless you. You're not inviting anybody. You're just putting a little space on your calendar for an appointment. But when you click on new meeting, it comes up with the title, required attendees and optional attendees. All right. So you can put your, let's see, I could use an IT team group I just created, and I could send everybody invite at the same time. I want to type a bunch of people in there. For location, I suggest putting your date that you want the meeting to be scheduled. So in this case, I'm gonna use April 3rd, and I'm going to do, let's say 8:30. Well, if you click on location for my Outlook version, I know the new Outlook version, it has something called Room Finder, and sometimes the room doesn't populate in the new Outlook version. But on my Outlook version, when I click location, all the locations that we have in the West Tidewater organization should populate. But you could click on location. But if you type the location in here, it will show you if the room is available before you even send the email out. Okay. So let's say I want to do Northgate because I know Northgate is always busy. Yeah, always jumping over at Northgate. All right. So let's say I scheduled for April 3rd at 8:30, and I'm typing Northgate, and you see it populating Northgate Group Room 1. It's showing me that it's busy. It's showing me that the Northgate Group Room 2 is available though. So I'm gonna click on Northgate Group Room 2, and then I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it anyway. What our subject? Oh, don't send. I'm gonna put a test meeting. I'm gonna cancel it too, cause like I said, I don't want no problems over there in Northgate. Cause those rooms over there, they stay busy. So, Dave, you should have received a calendar invite. Were you checking for the calendar invite, or were you doing something else, Dave? Oh, right there. Okay. I was making sure. Just make sure you staying on task. Okay. So if we go down to our April 4th, I have a test meeting, and it's right in there. And like I said, I booked it for the Northgate Group Room 2. And I know when you book a room, you usually receive an email from that room saying if it was accepted or not. And he said my request was accepted. All right. So, yes, ma'am.
clinics, people will reserve rooms, but we can't see them. Is there a way that like admin staff can see for a day, like what rooms have been reserved? Or is that?
So we it's made that way because we don't want to give everybody access to like cancel things and view all the details. Maybe David might have a better.
We might be able to set some permissions up. that
Okay.
allow the admin staff to see the details.
Okay.
We'll check. on
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes they're very generic in
Right.
their title.
Right.
And we'll have, especially here, we have this room, we have the whiteboard room, we have blackboard room, we have a reach room. And if you put a very generic title and somebody walks into the front desk and says, where do I need to be?
Right.
They can't always determine that. So try to be a little descriptive rather than just saying manager training.
Right.
Maybe say your department manager, whatever your department is that you're doing training with, or just something a little.
Yeah, as I know as of right now, only certain folks could and it's pretty like a handful, maybe not even a handful, but I know certain folks only have access to cancel things in rooms if you didn't create the meeting. I know David had access, I believe Lara has access. Yeah, so just know that.
Andrew, too, we did hear in a couple of the other trainings that some of the rooms have like rooms booked out to infinity
Right.
that aren't being, those meetings are not occurring anymore. If you go to schedule a meeting on a calendar and you see that that's the case, email us or submit a ticket so somebody can get that meeting off of there. So everybody knows that the room is available. It's not being taken, so you can book the room.
Yeah, because a lot of people we have like a reoccurring event, and I believe that reoccurring event goes to November.
99.99.
Right. So yeah, so if you ever notice that, just submit a ticket to the IT help desk, and we could get it removed. Okay.
Staff leave,
Yeah, especially if staff leave.
and they've got reoccurring appointments up there.
Yeah, and we can never book the room. Is everybody familiar with sharing your Outlook calendar? Right. I know a lot of people. So you want to get your staff to share your Outlook calendar just so you could just know what they got going on. Just better time efficiency and just collaborate better. To share your calendar, and you want to make sure that you can see all the details when you share your calendar. All right. So to share your calendar, you want to go into your calendar. All right. And you want to click on share calendar. It should be at the top on the toolbar. You want to click share calendar, and I have my A. Henry at WTCSB calendar right here. I'm going to click on share calendar, and I want to click on add. I'm sharing calendar with David, Wayne, and Valerie right now, and they can view all my details. So, but that's what you want your staff to have, can view all details. Because if they select can view when I'm busy, you're not going to see the details in the staff. So me, if I was a wise guy, I'll just create a meeting every day and just put something there. David couldn't see he just see that I'm busy from 9 to 5. I'm busy. All right. But so yeah, you just want to can view all details when you have your staff share their calendars, so you can view everything they have going on. Okay. All right.
What if I want to edit my staff calendar?
You want to edit it? There's a permission in there. Let me see. So if you click share calendar, let me look at David. There's a permission that says permissions, and I could select it so David can edit my calendar. So once the end user, which is your staff, share your calendar, make sure they could select can edit for you. All right. So you can edit their calendar if need be. So if you wanted them to delegate, if you wanted them to go somewhere or have a meeting with somebody, and you just go into the calendar, set the appointment up for them, and it's right there. It's right there for them. Okay. Like, check your calendar. You have a meeting with someone, so they might have not did it, but you did it, and hopefully they got nothing going on that day. Okay, we're gonna talk about accessing the SharePoint. Yeah, we're gonna talk about accessing the SharePoint real quick. I know a lot of people. When we set the computers up, when we give everybody computers, when we set up Google Chrome, we usually put bookmarks at the top of the computer. We have the Western Tidewater webpage, and we have West Tidewater homepage. We have the SharePoint. We have Chronos, Relias, and 365. Incredible at the top. I know a lot of people, but a lot of staff and a lot of people, we'll just go to the Western Tidewater website, click on resources and employee portal. All right. We're trying to stop that because it's giving us the website negative stats. Is when we click into it and we go into resources and employee portal and we get direct to the SharePoint, we're no longer on the Western Tidewater website. So it's on our stats, it's showing that somebody is visiting the website and just jumping right off. Okay. So to mitigate that, when you want to go to the SharePoint, you want to just go to the SharePoint. You just want to type in the URL and bookmark it so you can just always find it faster. Okay. So I'm gonna show y'all real quick what that looks like. So I'm in Google Chrome right now. If you have your SharePoint bookmark, it should be bookmarked at the top. You click on SharePoint, and I'm here. Like I said, a lot of people, they go to the WTCSB website. They come here, they come to resources and employee portal, and we go into the employee portal. But like I said, it's negatively impacting our stats on the website. All right. I just knocked our stats down one more point just doing that. All right. So we got to make sure we're going through the SharePoint. We're going through the SharePoint through a bookmark, or you can use the URL. So the URL for the SharePoint, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Open up Chrome. The URL for the SharePoint is Western Tidewater csb.sharepoint.com. You enter, you go to the SharePoint. All right. So just make that a habit, okay? Just make it a nice habit to go to the SharePoint through the bookmarks, or you type it in the URL. And if it's yes, sir.
So say, it's also another easy tip would be, if you're using Chrome, make sure you've made yourself maybe a work related profile for Google, and
Yes,
that way it'll share across all your devices.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to share that, but I know sometimes it gets confusing when you add that Google Chrome profile in there, because we hear Google and then we hear Gmail, and then so it gets confusing. I know that's a little advanced tip, Casey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, so that's how you want to do it. Me personally, I do have a Google Chrome profile right here. So let's say if my computer goes down for whatever reason, I could log into my Google Chrome profile on my new computer, and all my passwords, my bookmarks and stuff will be saved. All right. That's what Casey was talking about. It's nice to have, it's nice to have, but like I said, it's a little advanced. All right. Real quick. Y'all know who creates Windows? Real quick. Who's the creator of Windows?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft. So who created 365? Microsoft. Okay, so think about when Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge is the web browser that natively comes on Windows 10 or 11, right? So anytime that you log into your devices and you use Microsoft Edge, I'm I feel sorry. I feel bad for you saying this. But if you use Microsoft Edge, your stuff, when you get a new computer, your stuff will automatically be transferred over because your Edge is tied to your Microsoft Edge is already tied to your Western Tower with a profile. Okay. All right. That's like another advance tip. We'll get to that another day.
That's what I use every day. We're not supposed to be using that.
You can use Edge. Like I said, different strokes for different folks. If Edge, there's nothing. They trying to make Edge better. You know, all these companies are they competing, so Edge is not as bad as it used to be. All right. Yes. No, you fine.
Some point, and I'm not sure exactly what transpired to make it happen. If I have to open a link on something that's emailed, like through AP or whatever, from one of the vendors, it now automatically goes through Edge or
Right.
it goes through Google. So I'm not sure if it was just an update or something that's caused that.
See, and that's what it is. Like I said, Microsoft own Microsoft is pushing it. Yeah. So anytime we download Google Chrome, Microsoft will have you clicking through like 100 text boxes that says, "You sure? Are you sure? You sure you want to download Chrome? You sure?" Yeah. So yeah, that's just Microsoft when they push updates. Like I said, Microsoft owns 365. They own Windows, so they try to make it so everything meshed together well. But sometimes people don't like change and end up ruining things for us. So yeah, so that's the SharePoint. If you want to access the SharePoint, just make sure you bookmark it. And if you're not familiar with bookmarking it, any website that you join, you just want to click the star icon on the top right. Okay, so we're gonna talk about utilizing the OneDrive. All right, OneDrive is nice to have because instead of using all your storage on your computer itself, you could utilize the terabyte that you have in the cloud. All right, can somebody tell me what how big is a terabyte?
Million gigabytes.
You ain't close.
Like we supposed to.
Yeah.
David?
Thousand.
All right. Yeah, 1,000 gigs. So 1,000 gigs equals 1 terabyte. And if you know anything about file systems and how big is a file, typically that's a lot of space. All right. Especially just having it in the cloud. And a lot of us, we would just work with a lot of text documents and PowerPoints, PDFs, so like they don't take up a lot of file size. So you could store a billion documents in your cloud. All right. So make sure you're utilizing your cloud. Make sure at the bottom right of your computer next to your time, you have a cloud icon there, and your stuff is always backing up. It should be blue. If it's gray with a slash through it, I hope nothing catastrophic happens to you. All right. All right, because all your information might be gone. Yeah, help desk ticket. All right. So just make sure that your OneDrive is always being backed up. If you have your computer open real quick, if you look at the bottom right next to your clock, you should have a blue icon, and it should be light blue. Okay. These are a couple of icons here that there's a couple icons here that explain the issue that you might have with your OneDrive. If you have an exclamation point, the account need attention. If you have your arrows going in circles, that means it's some syncing in progress. If it's paused, that means the syncing is paused. If you do not want to see that top one, all right, because you want to make sure your stuff is being backed up. Okay. Well, we're all good. We're good. All right. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Microsoft Teams. All right, real quick. So I know a lot of people. Let me see. Let me go to my Teams real quick. I know a lot of people. We just utilize Teams just to conversate a little quick. I instant messages back and forth, but me and Dave set it up. We use our Teams for our supervisions and just to collaborate better. So let me see.
Is there things will pop up as soon as if you was up there like the day before?
What you mean? Like
when I first logged on, it would make me exit out. Like it would just pop up like a Teams message or my groups.
Yeah.
like automatically when I first log in.
So yeah, it auto launches. It's a startup program. So anytime that you boot your computer up, it just automatically pops up. Yeah. So yours don't do it. Okay,
I don't mind doing it either.
put a ticket in.
Ticket.
Put a ticket.
Ticket.
Okay. I'm in Teams right now, and like I said, everybody is usually familiar with the regular chat section of Teams, which is the left hand side, which is this left hand side. All right. So we're going to click on the Team section, and we're going to talk about, and we're going to create a team. We're going to create a team channel for you and your team, so you can have private supervisions and private sub channels in there for you and that particular staff. Okay. So, like I said, me and David I'm a part of the MIS team. I have a private sub channel here with David. We have a couple of these are all our supervisions we have. Anything we talk about keeps a running log of anything we talk about. Okay. Anytime we have supervision, we have a OneNote in here. I'm not gonna go through it at all. A lot of stuff in there, but so we have OneNote in there. You can have a whiteboard. You can add a SharePoint document library. So if you want your staff to keep on, if you want your staff to refer to another SharePoint library that you always work out of, I know Ms. Heather works finance, correct? Okay, finance. So you click on share. She might want to add a finance library to her teams. All right. So this is what me and Dave use our team for. And like I said, he has a private channel for Valerie, for private channel for Wayne. So anytime we have supervision, we'll just jump in here. And like I said, keeps a running log of it. So if you wanted to create your own private team, you want to come to the Teams tab and you want to click on the plus. You want to create a team, and you want to create a team from scratch. You want to make your team private, and I'm gonna name this test team. I'm gonna put a description of test, some generic. Get a nice little window, nice word. So you create your team. Now you're going to add members to your team. So these are all the staff members you want to add to your team. So if you have 15 staff, you want to add them all here. I'm thinking I'm somebody's supervisor, so I'm going to add Wayne, I'm going to add David, and I'm going to add Valerie. So I added those 3 members to my team. So I have my test team here, and I have my general tab. The general tab is where everybody could go into there. And like I said, I could add multiple different applications in there. So let's say I was talking about the finance. So let's say if I wanted to add a SharePoint library, I'll click SharePoint. I'll click on any SharePoint site. And now it's asking to paste the link to the SharePoint page, list, or document library. All right, so it's asking for the URL for the website for that SharePoint SharePoint site you're looking for. All right. Everybody knows what a URL is, correct? At the top of the page, that's a www.whatever.com. That's the URL. So for this particular one, I'm going to IT credible information. And I know we use the MIS documents a lot. I'm gonna use employee documents. So these are all COVID testimonials and ID badge codes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna copy this right here, the URL, come to the top, and I'm gonna add it to my Teams library, my Teams channel. I'm gonna click save. So now I have employee documents right in my Teams channel. So if I ever need my team to refer to something in the SharePoint, is right in here for you. All right. You can add multiple different applications in here. You can add Word. You can add a shared calendar. Like I said, we have OneNote. So anytime that me and Dave has supervision, we usually write notes in our OneNote folder, so we could just have a running log of anything we talked about. Okay. So that's the general tab. That's what everybody has. That's what everybody has access to. But if you wanted to create a private team channel for just for you and supervision, you'll highlight, there's 3 dots to the right, click on plus, and you want to click on add channel. For this channel name, I want to name it WB Supervision. Put WB Soup. And I'll make the channel type private. I'm gonna add members to the WB Supervision channel, so I'm gonna add Wayne. Because this is just me and his personal supervision. So we have a separate channel here. There's a little lock there, so that means it's private, and only me and Wayne could go into that channel, and we could we host supervisions or anything like that. Like I said, I could add another SharePoint library. I could add the OneNote. I could add a particular website, a PowerPoint. Like I said, there's different apps in there. Anything that you find fitting for you and your team. I suggest you could just use it. And like I said, there's YouTube, all types of different things. So it's always nice to have. So you could just, like I said, create a team, create separate channels for your staff to have private supervisions. And anytime that you have supervisions, just direct them to this channel right here. So it keeps a running log of every time you have supervisions. All right. Anything else? Hey, we all good? All right. It's Good Friday. I mean, I thought y'all be more excited, but I guess
It's Friday and
it's, I know y'all ready to go. And that Beyonce album came out. It's country. Yeah, we. The pancakes. That's what it was. Okay.
It's manager training.
Ain't no more breakfast in bed. All right. Okay, so we added the SharePoint channel. And we added the sub channels. Okay. So we're gonna talk about integrating your Credible calendar with your Outlook. A lot of people, I know a lot of people here use Credible. Some people might not use Credible in here, but if you ever need to integrate your Credible calendar with your Outlook, it doesn't go the other way around. It doesn't do Outlook to Credible. It just does Credible to Outlook. Okay. So if you ever want to integrate your Credible calendar with your Outlook, you'll come to your Credible. Come on, Credible real quick. And you want to hit schedule. And there's an icon right here that says export to Outlook. All right. Another text window will pop up and you want to click Outlook calendar integration. That's the easiest way to do that. All right. Once you click Outlook calendar integration, you might receive a error to the right saying on your notifications saying that it could not be synced. But if you go into your Outlook calendar, it should be there. All right. That's the easiest way to do it. You could also export it as a calendar format file or a CSV file. But if you export it, so let's say I export it from 324 to 330, right? If I export it, everything from those dates will go on my calendar. But if I export it again, and then let's say I use 324 to 330 again, it will make a duplicate entry in my calendar. All right. So if you export it, just make sure you change the dates. so you don't have duplicate entries in your calendar. All right. Like I said, the Outlook calendar integration. When you click on that, I have nothing on my calendar, so it might look a little. Let me create something real quick. Real quick, add. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do today at 1:30. Scheduled it. Okay, so I have a client today, client P today at 1:30. All right. So I'm gonna click export to Outlook. I'm gonna click Outlook calendar integration. It may not look like nothing happened, but if I go to my Outlook calendar, spread it out a little bit, it should populate. See, a test. It should populate a whole new calendar for you. I'm reading mine down. Okay, there you go. It just populated. All right. It has calendar right there. But like I said, it's not going to make it's not going to modify your current calendar. It's going to add another calendar in there. And it is named calendar. It might have calendar and it might have your name. But you see this is the appointment I scheduled. And then you could have it meshed together if you click this arrow. So you could have one calendar.
So Andrew, will that update automatically? So like the appointment, yeah. So like if you make one later today, it'll just automatically.
Yes, it should update every hour, I believe, Mitzi, right?
It seemed to go pretty quickly, though. It wasn't, but it was.
Yeah, but it should automatically upload to your Outlook calendar.
Say closer to like 15 minutes or something like that.
Okay, so every 15 to 30 minutes, just give it some time. But like I said, that's the easiest way to do it. Because if you export a calendar file, you have to export it every time. So just click on the blue link and it will automatically do the integration for you. Okay.
A couple of things to remember that you cannot launch into Credible from your Outlook.
Okay.
And it's not bi-directional, so you can't put something on your Outlook and pull it into Credible. It's just from Credible over to Outlook. And when you reset your password, it will break that connection. So if you're using this feature, you need to set it up again.
Yeah, so every 90 days when you change your password, just make sure you export your calendar once again so it keeps the connection going, okay?
Do you want to take a 5-minute break since we lost half the room?
Okay.
Phone calls?
That's fine.
I knew everybody got up and left, all their phones rang. You want to just take like a 5-minute break?
Well, they're probably not using Credible either.
They're probably not.
That's fine. We could take 5-minute hiatus. I'm almost finished. I got probably one more slide left. We'll talk about something else and we're all done. Basic troubleshooting tips. All right. This is just 3 little tips. I'm gonna go through some more that's not up there. All right. If your computer is running slow, all right. First things first, restart your computer. All right. Before you come put a ticket in and the world is on fire and you come up and you come see me in my office and I'm always just want to make this clear. I'll always love seeing y'all come to my office. So let's make this clear. Restart your computer first. All right. Just restart your computer. And I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 that works. But yeah, that's the first trick. All right. Make sure it's powered on. All right, that's another thing. my computer's not powering on. It's a lot of times people will come to me and say my computer's not powering on and they bring it to me and I hit a button. They say I got the magic hands. All right. I like to think I got magic hands, but I'm not that magical. All right. So yeah, just restart your computer often. All right. I know a lot of people, y'all like working. I know everybody here workaholics. Y'all work all day. 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:30, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. All right. And y'all might just close y'all laptops up and just and open it back up the next morning. All right, everything that y'all do every time y'all don't shut that computer down. It's storing all that memory, it's storing all that cache, and everything that you've been working on for the past 2 weeks. It's gonna bog your computer down. It's gonna slow your computer down. So just imagine you've been running around for 3 days without proper sleep or proper rest. You're gonna be upset. All right. So just make sure that you restart the computer pretty often. All right. Update your software. So I know a lot of times, yeah, you might get a pop up on the side that says your computer might need to be updated or whatever the case may be, and you're not sure if it might be a virus or you're not sure what to do. So a lot of times, what you could do to make sure, I say this, do this maybe once a month. You want to come down to your start menu, tap on that one time, and type in update, right? And you want to click on check for updates. When you click on that one time, another window will pop up. The Windows update will pop up. You might have like a red text here that says your device is missing important security and quality fixes, but that's okay. It's all right. It's just click on check for updates. When you check for updates, when you check for updates, so when you check for updates, I'm not missing anything. I don't have any updates, but when you click check for updates, you might have a whole laundry list of things you might need to download. All right. Just make sure let those download. You could minimize this window and still work, but just do this maybe once a month. Okay. You can still minimize work, and just when at the end of your shift or whenever you finish working, just shut your computer down and it will install your updates for you. Okay.
And that's actually, I can testify that every time my computer slows, I just go and do a bunch of updates and I'm good. But I also, every time, never that fail.
See, and that's usually that's the first go-to. Like if your computer just slow and it's not working right, you might have not shut it down in 2 weeks. So
I also want to remind folks that if you're not updating, it does affect Credible as well. And so we have started saying that to folks when you're struggling and functionality's missing, the button's gone, this, that. It's I cleared my cache, I did all that, I still see it. We're like, you got to check for updates. And they're like, oh, yeah, I have all these updates. So do those updates because it can actually make functionality completely disappear from your Credible.
right.
So,
Yeah, do that often. And anytime that you have an update and you need to restart your computer, I don't have the icon there now, but sometimes you have like a little icon next to your clock, and it has like it might have like a Windows icon with like a red dot, or it might be a yellow dot. Okay, and it will tell you that you gonna need updates right there. All right. And with that, I think I'm all finished, everybody. I appreciate you guys sticking with me, not falling asleep. I don't see no drool on no tables. We're gonna talk about real quick before I finish up. We're gonna talk. Well, let me share my screen again.
I know, it's like there's more than one person.
I know. Stephanie, I'm sorry. All right. So, just make sure all your staff and yourself have done your know before training. All right. David sent the email out pretty frequently, maybe probably last month or weeks before that. Just make sure your staff is doing your know before training. That's just training on like phishing and how to spot these things. Just case.
Just quick question for new staff, new hires that are coming up. I know that's not reliable. Does that automatically go to their email when they're?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll just remind.
Yes, yeah. So it's not a training in Reliance. It's a separate email. It's from Know Before, or you might see it from David. Okay.
It's not phishing, so please do it.
Yeah. Right.
If you've not done it, please do it and make sure your staff are doing it as well. We just got a list sent out the other day that had 169 people in the agency that still had not done it.
You might also get an email from, like I said, Know Before, Know BE4. All right. And this is what my mine look like when I received them. I did them a while ago, so that's the know before training. Does everybody know how to select the email if they suspect it is phishing? If you get an email that you might not that you don't think is legit and it might look a little funky, you could report it as phishing. We will get it on our back end, and if it is phishing, we could remove the emails from everybody's inbox that got it in the organization. So we need you guys to do your part. If you figure out an email that's not legitimate, just don't delete it. Report it as phishing so we could get rid of the emails everybody's inbox. Okay, to report I have an email here from Ms. Johnson, Whitney Johnson. So let's say if I wanted to report this from Ms. Brittany, all right, I will highlight the email, and there's a fish alert report button right here. Like I said, everybody outlooks may look a little different, so you might not have this button somewhere. You might have to dig into some settings. You might have to right click the message itself, and the phishing might be in here. But for my Outlook, is right here. You want to click fish alert report. A little text box will come up, and then you want to click fish alert, right? So once you click fish alert, it will remove the email from my inbox. We will get it on the back end, and if it is phishing, like I said, we could remove any emails that we received from anybody's inbox. All right.
Yeah, that's a more question. So if we were sending out an email, let's say I selected the wrong Brittany. Are we at do we have the stipulations yet to resend the email basically? Like go back and and when I'm by mistake, can we put that retract that email?
Yeah, so what'll happen is on that back end he was talking about, I'll see it in there, I'll mark it as clean, and once I do that, it'll come back to you in your inbox, just like you got it.
So last step is IT help desk if you said something wrong.
Yeah, it's a different. I think that's a different
So
question.
let's say an email went out that wasn't supposed to go out basically.
Oh, then what?
And I send it to the wrong person or whatever.
Okay.
So before that person get an opportunity to open it, can I retract it back?
There is a feature in there, but I can tell you that it doesn't always pull that message back. Sometimes it will work, but it's funky.
Okay.
So if you're sending it to people,
Right.
what, sometimes it will let you retract it for at all.
Yeah, I wish. I'm pretty sure they could get down the line. It will be that sophisticated, but
Well, I think the iPhones do something with the text.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah.
So that's all they gonna be there. I know Bill Gates don't want people to be up on them and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, iPhones. If you send a message, I think you got like 5 minutes to unsend it, or you got like 15 minutes to edit. So, yeah. So if you didn't know that, you got a little extra tip today for free. All right. All right. What anything else I'm missing? Top of your Dave? Anything you?
Document. Oh, everybody. Somebody else to scan it to yourself first. Please make sure your staff know this, because HR gets a ton of documents that are scanned directly from a printer or a scanner. We do not open them. We don't try to find out who they're from. We don't open the attachment to see what it is. It's deleted. So if you have staff that are saying, I took that training, I did that, I sent it to HR, they probably did, but they sent it directly from a scanner and we deleted it. So we will not know that a training has been completed unless they send it from themselves, not the scanner or the printer.
Even if you send it to yourself and then forward it, it's very helpful to take the sent from scanner as a subject line. And actually put real subject in, so that we can search it if we need to later on.
Right. So if any of your staff scan anything from any of these copiers or printer machines, fax, just make sure they change the subject line. You can also change the name of the file too. That will help, because if you send it off, it's always easier to go on your Outlook and just search, and instead of searching WTCSB scan files and going through 100 different attachments. All right. So if you're scanning a certificate for Reliance training, just rename it. So if you ever need to refer back to it, you can just always type in the Reliance certificate name, find it easier. All right. I think I'm all done now. I'm gonna listen to that Beyonce album. Get it. Like I said, anything else? Anything else, Dave? No. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
I will say, directors were supposed to be here, but we've had some really good conversations since last Friday on some of the topics in my presentation, and this affords us not having them here an opportunity to have some open and honest conversation about things that are going awry or ways that we can fix things or issues that you guys see without them here. And they pretty much all support that. So this is the talking portion. A little dongle thing that goes inside. I put it in, but now I can't get it out. It went in fine, but now you can't get it back out. Apparently I put it in upside down.
And because and I've already taken a good portion of it out.
Thank you everyone for coming. I was asked to speak about organizational skills for managers. Thank you for being the last group. My voice is tired. Feel a cough drop in, so I apologize in advance if I start coughing on this long week. We're going to be talking about, I did shorten this presentation a bit so that we could have some better conversation because I think you guys might have a bit more to say and a little bit more insight into some of the issues that we're having. Ooh, we got it quicker. So we're going to be talking about four distinct topic areas. Like I said, I shortened it a little bit. So things that I thought would be helpful. So we're going to be talking about decision making. So that's delegating and prioritizing tasks, time management, time wasting behaviors that we do. Specifically, we'll be talking, emails. And I found some fun statistics that I really enjoy reading because you don't realize how much of your time you waste on emails then when you start reading the statistics and actually checking that out and looking at it. We'll be talking about response etiquette. So leadership response etiquette, how you respond to both your staff and leadership, but then how your staff are responding. How they write appropriately or not appropriately to people. And then probably the largest section is going to be interagency networking. We're going to be talking about our silos that we live in. I think Brandon coined the term silos of excellence. I still have no idea really what that means, but I do know what a silo is. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So decision making and prioritizing. There are a lot of us in this room, possibly, who really would feel as though they can do everything. Or it's easier for them just to do it and get it done and not ask for help. And there are also some of you guys, because you're in your role, are really good at prioritizing tasks to get things done. We found, like I've seen some of the managers not so great at it. And they've had a lot to say about delegating and prioritizing and their skills and weaknesses in that area. Supervisors a little bit better. I'm assuming you guys probably are right up there. But the most important part about prioritizing and delegating tasks to your staff in an effective manner is to grow their skills, not for them to take your job, but to help them become more successful in the area that they're working in. And we can't do that if we don't offer them opportunity to complete any additional tasks. And that's really what it comes down to, offering them or affording them that opportunity. So what kinds of things, I'm not reading this, what kinds of things do you guys delegate? Do you delegate? Or do you do everything yourself?
Yes, I can go in and pull what I need and know exactly where to find it, but somebody else has to learn how to do it. I have them call vendors. If a vendor complains about a past due or something like that, they have to deal with. Yeah. That always seems to come to me. And even like from internally, they'll come to me before they start across. I had to go.
You can take care of it.
Can you go?
Is it a task? Are those like the data collection? Is that something that is a reoccurring task or something that's like a one and done kind of situation? Just depends. Okay. Yes, you tend to be the go-to for things in this building. I have learned that. Some of us are the go-to for a lot of things. If I need some help in residential, Betty Jo's gonna be the first one that's gonna probably get my phone call. I mean, so there are certain people we tend to lean on. Mitzi, how are you at delegating tasks?
I do well in some areas and not so well with others.
Why is that? What are the areas that like you might struggle with?
Things that you feel like it's gonna fall back to you if it's wrong.
Yeah.
So somebody has told you, Marco, it's your responsibility to get this done, and then you've gone ahead and tried to delegate to somebody else, perhaps?
Well, I think it's bigger ticket items type thing. You know, like if it's something
Value thing?
yeah, like if it's something that I know at the end of the day that my neck is on the chopping block, I'm gonna make sure that I'm putting forth effort rather than leaving it for chance to someone else going. But if it's something that I was always taught that somebody can do it 80% or better, delegate it down. So if it's something like minute tasks that can continue to make that person better and grow and take it off my plate, then I will. But I'm not going to give it all if I'm already on the hinge that I need to get it done, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
One of the problems I run into is people will contact me and with a particular issue, we need to get it solved now. Is that something that I can train somebody else to do for the future? Yes, it is. Do I have time to, hey, Shannon, can you get on the phone with me and on this Teams meeting with this person so we can go through this right now? Is she available and do that? If she's not, I still have to do it because it's got to get done now. So I feel like I miss opportunities to pull somebody else in for training.
Because it's a quick turnaround. It's like an urgent matter, so it has to be done right now.
Everything appears to be urgent.
Yeah, I get that. Like, that is true.
We get the funds last minute and
So it's staff that created to be urgent, or the request is urgent, not necessarily because you feel like it's urgent, but because it's come to you in such an urgent manner because our staff wait to the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what do you do about it? Because obviously it's a problem. What are you doing about it?
Start holding them accountable.
it's hard for you to do a whole lot about it when it's my equal or above me. Then comes at me and says, I need it by 5 p.m. today.
Okay, so
But
yeah,
they know about it for a week or a week and a half, and they're realizing, oh, I need this from you now. Kind of hard to do something about.
yeah, when it's coming from above you,
Yep.
right? And it's an urgent request, it's got to get done immediately. And you've already worked your 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. And now you're up in, 5 to 7 trying to figure out how to do something to get it done tonight because it's due today and we've waited till last minute. How do you address it with them? Do you feel comfortable addressing it with those that are above you? So in our case, it would just be directors for the most part. Do you feel comfortable?
You should, because you was put at your seat for a reason, like, that's why you're in this room.
Right.
So like, if we're causing the fact of something being late, then it's our responsibility to hold for ourselves. But if it's something that we're shooting down and then saying, well, hey, guess what? I did get that to Amy never got it back to me. They don't want to hear that. And nor should I be the one that want to communicate that with them, because at the end of the day, that was mine.
They told you to do it. Yeah. They told you to do it and you delegated it to somebody else and it didn't go well. Communication with management is really important. And we have found pretty consistently in every training, managers say poor communication from supervisors. Supervisors say poor communication from our admins. It's very consistent.
She has her hand up.
Right? Go ahead. Thank you.
I would like to add what helps me with delegating tasks, because I'm very, if something's my baby, it's very hard for me to get up. So I understand Heather and Mitzi a lot in that area. If I have a way to track what the person has done and I can go back and review what they've done, that gives me a lot less anxiety about just handing something off.
So that's a good point. And that brings us to, even what Mario said, where it kind of backfires on you if you delegate to someone and it maybe doesn't turn out the right way. So how are you delegating? Actually, probably one of the most important pieces. And a lot of our managers and even some of our supervisors feel like they don't delegate as much because they don't even understand the expectations that are put on them to delegate. So when you receive a request to get something done, are your directives clear? Who's told you to do it? Is it an email? Is it a quick phone call that needs to get done? Do you understand everything about the task that you're being assigned to do? Or is it just sort of haphazardly thrown at you, needs to get done? And basically, I hope you know what you're doing.
All of the above. Right.
Yeah. So when you delegate, so we know that maybe our directors aren't the greatest at giving clear communication when it comes to delegating, right?
Oh my God.
It's all of the directors.
He knows what he's doing. But when he says it,
All of them. There's
All of them.
even me. I tell Brittany. Brittany's on here, so she can attest to the amount of emails that I'm like, I just need this done. Now, my team is really good. Mitzi aside, because Mitzi already knows what she's doing, so I don't need to even ask. But my team's really good because I say I really need this, and they already know what I'm thinking and can just go and do it and run with it. But that's not everybody's team. And it gets really hard when you are somebody like Courtney, who is a very essential part of the agency, who works with one director, but she's also got other directors saying, no, you need to do it like this, and this is what I expect. So how things are told to her can get very confusing very quickly. So we get that. We get that our directors are, and I'm taking feedback back. So from all of these trainings, I've sort of been compiling thoughts and recommendations, and I've been getting emails throughout the last week and a half about team meetings that have come together to kind of talk about how we can resolve some issues. So that begs the question of how you delegate to your staff. If things are poorly delegated to you, we don't want to delegate, even if you know exactly what the expectation is and you have a task that needs to be done. We don't want to delegate poorly to our staff because they feel like that gets done. So how are we doing with that?
I was gonna say, I think I take that into account. So like an example I could think of is like the board report, right? So when asked to get the board report together, at one point when things kind of switched around with direct, we switched. So
There was a lot of switching.
right.
A lot of movement, right?
We were used to maybe getting we had someone within our department who told us when the board report was, and we had like time, And so then when it switched, like Latrell asked us for the board report. So knowing then at that time, like we were in a crunch because it hadn't been given to us this way it had been before, I just did it. But now I know, hey, can I get the dates for the rest of the year? Because now I can delegate to my team to be able to do it. So in that
year 20.
right. So in the initial, because I didn't want to be that to my team to say, oh, I need it tomorrow. I was like, crap, I'll do it.
If you have your information, it reflects poorly on me as a director. And it backfires on me because it get written up because LOC's out like they're candy to direct for things like that. For late reporting, because we know a year in advance what's coming for the year. We know what's expected of us. And so how we relay that to our team, like I know my team gets me everything I need before the 5th of the month when board report season comes. But there was like 4 months that I was a director that I didn't have a little list of dates.
They are wonky. They are.
I bet they are wonky. They are. And they change.
Yeah.
There's a lot of finance meetings and you get pushed. So things do happen, things change, but we're also held accountable when it's late. And so it backfires on us if we don't delegate appropriately to you and give you all the information you need, right? And it's hard for you to say, hey, I've got teams. I need data from Misty. I need data from Tanya. I need data from Brittany. And if I don't get those pieces, I can't put it together effectively. I may still submit it with what I have.
Change, when we change supervisor, that it's problematic because your board report became very, very different. Brent did mine.
Mhm.
I mean, Brandon wanted reams of paper. It was just give me the data, give me the data.
But did you know, and you probably didn't, because I didn't even tell you because I, cut most of the stuff out, but
Well, then I gave all the data to you and you're like, I don't want any of that. Just give me these things. Like, oh, okay.
because they don't, they want highlights now. It's like they want something, they don't want 6 pages for each division, they want 1 or 2 pages of highlights. And so, I still like the data because I still keep it. Like for me, I think it's helpful and I keep it, but I still abridge everything that everybody sends me into one thing.
And the other issue though that comes for me is I don't like to just pass off something that I don't know how to do myself.
Correct.
So if Shannon or I can't figure it out, because I trust Shannon to be able to dig in and figure out a process and how does it work. But if the two of us can't do that first, I don't have Erica and Kenesha do it at all.
What does it do?
They need,
It sets them up for failure, right?
exactly. So we need to be sure we know what we're doing. And that's where those training opportunities come in. If I can't, and Shannon and I are always train. We got to train them. They got to be trained. We don't ever want somebody to say they never trained me because we hear that all the time. If we can't set up those times with them to get them trained, or we miss all those opportunities, we don't get to delegate that off. We have to be very purposeful on that. And then have, like Ray said, these mechanisms to go behind. And when I go behind, though, I find myself spending more time on the review than if I had just gone there and done it myself. And I've created actually a whole lot more work for myself. Yeah. So then I run into this.
Agree, Mitzi. But it does help get it off your plate eventually, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it took us a long time to get the employee to the point, like employee assignments, where I felt like my staff can just run with it and I don't have to follow behind. But that took more than a year to get to that point.
Some of the feedback we've received from managers in particular is, that tasks do have to be done so urgently, or maybe they came to you urgently, and so you got to pass them down urgently to somebody else. The information isn't very clear. So you end up just doing it yourself, or they end up just doing it themselves if they don't want to delegate it. And we don't often use the time when, they don't want to pass something down that has to be done right now and done urgently. But they also don't go back to say, hey, I've got to do this again next month. Why don't you sit in while I do it? And let's pre-schedule some training. Giving them the opportunity. What are the biggest things? How many people, if you delegate to someone, do you tend to delegate to the same people? Or do you afford anyone in your team that opportunity to jump on a new project? Do you tend to gravitate to the same person, same few people because you rely on them or they know what they do? You only have your more time.
So for us, we're just like, okay, are the tasks evenly split? This sort of.
But we've heard a lot of people say they only come to me. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great if you can rely on someone who you can give information to and they can get the task done. But are we affording others on our team the opportunity to learn? And so being able to say, some of the supervisors on Wednesday said, they'll send out hey, we've got this project going on. This is what it's going to entail. Is anyone interested in helping with it? Project may be a loose term. It may just be collecting data. It may be, anything random, but we're affording them that opportunity. So that's delegating and prioritizing those tasks. We're going to be just moving on to some data related to time management. I actually really got a kick out of these because I looked at data from Harvard reviews from 2022 and forward because so much has changed since COVID. And most of us are using email significantly more. We're not just popping into each other's offices talking. So consistent studies have shown the average employee spends 23% to 28% of their work week checking or writing email. That's about 1 out of every 3 hours of your day. That's your employee. That's not even you. Yeah, that's not even you. That's just standard employees. Studies showed the average employee checks their email by phone or laptop an average of 36 times per hour. One might think that seems a bit high. I checked mine just one day while doing it. It was like 42 something. But how many of you have your email open while doing other tasks? Like, you know, you keep Outlook open all day. Yeah. We keep Outlook open constantly, or it's on our phone. So we're constantly flipping back and forth. The little like message, the little like black box that comes up that tells you you've got messages all day. So if I have to get something done, I just like shut Outlook off. I have to like close the whole thing and turn off my phone or like silence my phone so I can get stuff done. The average employee spends 20% to 40% of their day multitasking, switching from one task to another. And that could be anything. That could be, I used the example maybe like 2 weeks ago. I got my stuff ready in the morning, got my desk ready, and I went upstairs to go throw laundry in before my day got busy. And every morning I did that for 3 days because I kept forgetting to throw it in the dryer. It happened more than you think, but yeah, by the third day of washing it, I was like, I was like, I need to set an alarm like for 90 minutes and go up and, you know, I still didn't get it done. The alarm went off and I was like, I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, still didn't get done, you know.
Yeah, that water bill you're thinking about.
My water bill's cheap where I live. But yeah, probably. But gosh, I'm like, sometimes you just get busy and you're just so busy that you just forget about things. But yeah, we often, if we're doing it, our employees are doing it. I like employees in meetings who I'm like, all right, we're going to put our phones away. We're going to, you know, focus on this activity or this information. And then everyone's like focused, but like you see their glasses and the screen is like changing. You can see the white screen reflection in their glasses changing, especially if it's like dark in their background. I know they're not paying attention. So we've had some pretty interesting people. We had one manager who prefers most meetings to be face-to-face so that she can manage that. She can manage the distraction. That works for some, but it doesn't really work for everybody. The average employee since COVID spends more than 40% of their work week in meetings. Of those meetings, 50% are considered unnecessary and wasteful. Not this one. Hopefully. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Or we have the wrong people in the meeting.
So that's something we talk about. So we talk about, we don't have a set agenda. We have unnecessary people. We pull way too many people in. I was in a meeting the other day and maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. And I was like, aren't we talking about this like next week as well? And she was like, oh, well, that's with a different group of people though. And I'm like, well, why are we all talking about it then? Now? Well, I don't really know, but we were told we needed to talk about it today. But new people are meeting with it, you know, about it next week. And I was like, why?
Well, prior to COVID, we had a lot of impromptu meetings at our desks or in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know what to say about that, except that, you know, we got stopped a lot
of these directives coming down from the director level that things have to get done and there's pressure to get it done. And so we pull in the people they say to pull in, but then we find other people are needed. And so we create other meetings.
Or they're telling different people.
Yeah.
Oh, I've experienced this with Courtney. Yeah. Courtney, Brandon's telling Courtney, go do X, Y, Z. And then, you know, Demetrius tells Courtney, no, do X, Y, Z. And then Brandon's coming to me and you need to get with Courtney.
About the same thing.
And we're like, can we just all get the same meeting?
Yes.
Why are we all having separate meetings about the same thing?
Right. Why are we having more than one staff do a task? You know, you got this director over here saying, go do this. And then this one saying, go do that to another person. And it's not, you know, so we're wasting time that way where we have two people doing the same thing.
I'll say we get into meetings and like this happened with Shakita, Demara, Logan, and I on Monday. You know, Latrell told them something, Brandon told us something. So then we're like, okay, what do we do? Like these are completely different directives. So we kind of spent the whole meeting trying to figure out what to do. And instead of getting anything productive done.
hard. It's hard. I like to say one of the things I do enjoy about business development when I do get to sit in a meeting with them is they always come with an agenda. They, at least consistently for me, come with an agenda. So we know what we're talking about and we usually have access to that agenda ahead of time. So we can be prepared. How many of you guys create agendas? This side of the room? No. You do. So when you create an agenda, of the people that create agendas, how many of you guys send them out ahead of time so that your staff can be knowledgeable and prepared for the meeting? 2, 3, 4.
I also put the agendas out.
Great. So that's one of the most important things that we find is we create these agendas, we have them, we have supervisors and managers say, well, I create the agenda in my head. I create enough sticky notes throughout the week and I like leave it there. And those work for some people, but how do you expect anybody to be prepared for your meeting if they don't know what you're talking about? Really? I mean, it could be a topic, but many times I'll call Courtney and I'll say, what is this meeting about? And she's like, I don't know, you created it.
Guess what I did last week?
I'm like, well, because it was a directive that I got, I needed to pull all these people together. I'm like, I've got to remind myself what Brandon or Demetrius, I've been pulling all these people together for their meeting. It's, 90% of the time it's for them. So it's hard, but I like to be prepared with an agenda. I like to be able to see it and let my staff know what's expected of them. Because what we're consistently hearing is that they just don't feel prepared. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's expected of them. 50% of meeting time is spent on irrelevant topics or off topic. For the initial invitation. This was sort of a hot topic for staff for managers because we're human. We don't get to see each other face to face that often. And so off topic, how many of you guys maybe start your meetings with an icebreaker or how was your weekend? I know you were out sick. Hope you're doing better, things like that. Do you find that helpful and important with connecting with your staff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Statistics aren't bad. The data is not bad. But it just says 50% of us generally have some of our meetings start like that with some off-topic conversations. Now, if it's an hour-long meeting and we've been doing it for 20 minutes, we need to get this going. So there were some of our skip supervisors or managers who said the first 5 minutes is always an icebreaker. And that's just something that they always do as something that's repetitive just to get in the habit of. I've sat in reach meetings where when Brandon was overreach and Brandon would always start with a dad joke, a bad dad joke. And that's how he started his meetings, just to kick it off. So, finding those patterns and again, keeping that on the agenda is helpful so people know what to expect. For executives. So executives would really be administrators, the director level, executive directors, things like that. Only 17% of executives believe their meetings are productive and valuable. This is largely due to that poor planning and lack of preparation. And in fact, 63% of meetings don't have a set agenda and 37 don't have an agenda at all. How many of you just show up to a meeting? How many of you show up to a meeting and you really just showed up because you got the invite? All the time. Yeah. Do you find that you are prepared? Do you find that you can openly speak confidently? No. Once it starts going, perhaps. Once they say, hey, we're going to go cover these few items, or we're going to be talking about this today. But really, most of us don't. And your managers feel the same. So those agendas and sharing it with your staff are really important. I like our CCBHT and our 988 because we get several days in advance what the agenda is and all the attachments that we can read. And we know about what we're talking about ahead of time. So whether we choose to or not, we can acknowledge them, read them, and try and participate. So let's go back for a second. Agendas. How do you guys create agendas for those that do it? In Word. Does anyone email itself. Does anyone use Teams for their meetings? Do you use Zoom? Always. So I really hated Teams. Hated Teams when it first met. I was like, I'm a stand firm. I am not using this. I don't like it. I don't like change. That's why I have like the old Outlook that like you have to click multiple screens to like get everything open. Yeah, Brittany, we know. We know because that's what I use. We know. Teams has so much, and you really can't break it once you get into it. And I have, I found some things, but Brittany and I, when we were, she had created it at some point. I was like, what is that? She was like, that's the agenda feature. And I was like, what is that? Create a small video and I sent it out to 2 other manager cohorts about how to get an agenda on Teams. So I use Teams for most, if not all of my meetings. I really don't care for Zoom anymore. It's just a place to meet. I like Teams. So this is just showing you when I create my meeting, I just use safety because it was the only one that didn't have like random information on it. I had to check the first day. I was like, let me read this and make sure there's no like bad like names on it. So when you scroll down, when you create a Teams meeting and you scroll down to the bottom, first is just a little bar that comes up, but it'll allow you to create an agenda. And I like to create that agenda right there. You can check off as you're in your meeting what you've talked about. And then I can take my meeting notes right there. When you're in your meeting and it's opened, it'll be on the right-hand side of your screen. So everybody can see it. If they've clicked on agenda, they can see everything that you guys are going to talk about. They can add things. I take those meeting minutes and I created a channel that Drew showed us how to do so that I can keep track of all of our meeting minutes. I can keep track of everything. This is just a screenshot of it. So I don't have to send anything out via email because they're not reading it. Staff's not reading it. And your manager's confirming that.
Is that how you do supervision?
I do supervision like that. Yeah, you could create. So like I have, well, you can't see it here, but I have just like a Brittany channel, like an employee channel that's private. And you create the supervision.
I know he just said that it's this right.
Yeah, and you keep it right there. You don't have to keep track of emails. They have access to it. Please review the notes from today's meeting. Teams. Full Teams training would be nice. I don't have to email it out to you and expect for you to read it. We had some managers who are like, how do I force my staff to read email? Because I don't think they're reading email.
But they're trying to utilize that if it comes to a disparate action thing.
Absolutely. So don't let them. Don't give them that excuse to do that. Take that excuse away. Create something like this for your managers' meetings or your teams. It's here and it's available. And even in the meetings, I'll be like typing on the side. I don't know if you guys can see it, like in safety. When I type the agenda and then I'm in the meeting, if you guys have it open, you can see, sometimes I do. And I'll be typing the notes as we're talking so I don't forget them right there on the side. And I just copy it right here.
The other nice thing is you can launch.
You can see me typing? Yeah.
You can launch the video right from that spot, right from that channel.
I didn't that. Oh yeah, the little video feature.
Yeah. So you can put the video to the right, have your notes to the left, and then you're talking later.
You need like a team trip. Like, have to designate somebody else. Delegate. I have been in many schools where I'm like, Brittany, can you join just to take a minute?
Because I can't focus on everything.
And a lot of people said that.
I can't even take minutes. I can't even take notes now. Well, unless you say, Mitzi, you have to actually do, then I would write something down. But otherwise,
I have a feeling your notes would look very different than most people in length. And so shorthanding it down a little might help. But that's what we found. People write things on sticky notes. They're like, oh, I write in a notepad. But do you know how much time that wastes for your managers to have to write in a notepad and then type it up for their team? Like, what a waste of time. Yeah. And then are they getting it out promptly? Are they relaying the right information? Hard. Should we hand raised? No, I think hand was raised. So I like to use Teams for a lot of different meetings now. It's just easier. I just don't like to email minutes anymore, notes. It it was a waste of time. Because I was that person like hard writing things and then typing it up, being like, what does that say? I just use it in here. So consider it for everybody who uses just Word documents, or talk to your managers about it too. Because a lot of them are using sticky notes, or like they're like, does in my brain count? And I'm like, well, it counts. Can we put it on paper somewhere? Or can you send out I forget to create agendas sometimes for my management meetings because they just sneak up on me like every 2 weeks. I'm like, today? But I'll say, does anyone have any agenda items they'd like to add to like what I already have?
Looks like with the managers meetings, your team is small, like my team is.
Yeah, we're only a group.
And when we have our credible team meeting, it's really more just a check-in. The work of what we do and the training and the actual supervision happens in my supervision with Shannon, or Shannon with Erica and Kanisha. So really, my meeting for everybody is for them to see me, to know I'm still around.
You're listening. I know you're around.
Everyone's supposed to be interference, but then I am here. And there's certain things just, I follow up on. Do you have other questions? Do you have specific questions for me? So it becomes more, so I think that the way your management team meeting goes,
that's what I was going to ask.
Different for everybody.
Brittany and Mitzi aside, how many of your directors have management meetings with you guys? Like on a consistent basis as required by the agency. And I do say that, as required by the agency.
Supervision.
Like supervision, like with your team.
I mean, group supervision.
Group, individual.
Okay.
The agency is very clear on their expectations of supervision.
Yeah. I do it.
Yeah, I know she does. I know what Joel does. Individual. Okay.
I do both.
I have individual and group.
Do they have a model that they use or any format that they have? Or do they just come and talk to you?
Beforehand.
I expect nothing less.
Yep, if we have anything else to add, and then he does the note.
How about Latrell? There's several people at Latrell's, and does she have an agenda? Of course. It's okay. This isn't going anywhere. So it's okay. If she was actually one of the first ones, she's like, I want to know how people really feel and what we can do to improve. So there are several directors out there that are like, I want to know what we can do to improve. She's like, because I know they don't always like me and they don't always agree. But she's actually the first person who was like, Amy, I don't want to be there tomorrow. She's like, I need people to be able to speak freely. She's like, you need to send an email on that. I was like, I will say, she has an agenda for it, but I will say everyone is different. For me, I'm very focused, so I don't need I think sometimes when I get a whole bunch of agendas, for me, I'm like, it doesn't focus me in anymore. Organize yourself without something in writing. Right. So that's for you. Would that be like for you and her, or for you and your team?
No, for my team, I do agendas, but I'm just saying like for myself.
For yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of it's like individual, like if like Mitzi wanted to meet with me, or like we don't generally have agendas because it can't generally focus. Mitzi always has like I got this to talk about, this to talk about. I always know. And that's okay if that's okay because it keeps us organized, especially when there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So let me speak first, and then I say, okay, now what do you have for me?
Always, yeah. There's always something.
Want Shannon to come to me with her list. Because hey, she's got a laundry list. And after we go through her list, those are her needs, and where she knows that she needs guidance, I think she needs guidance. So I want to tend to that first. And then is my list. Usually we've covered it because she's already asked me.
Take that. I'm trying to forget because I don't understand what she's talking about 90% of the time. I follow back up on emails and I'm like, so did this ever happen?
Supervision is me training technology and prep.
But Andrew put and go for email. I send regular emails to Andrew. We need to do this. We need to tackle this. We need to tackle this. And I'll sit down with Andrew. He will literally go through my emails that we may not have already hit. to make sure we've covered everything that I'm sending. Yep.
I'm Debbie with supervision. My head's full.
Well, I mean, we have.
We lead by example, so if we're not leading by example.
Supervision meeting like that pop up my calendar that this is going to be your meeting. Do we have that? No. But do we have ongoing?
Well, you're always together. Every time I talk to her, that shows me. Yeah.
Like, well, that's because we share an office.
True.
Thank you, by the way. But like, just for instance, things pop in my mind. I've got a couple of staff things that I need to run past her before the week ends. So, I mean, we have those type things where I can reach out to her, maybe not necessarily always daily, but, you know, every few days and say, hey, can we just talk about these few things? And she, you know, follows up on those and then shares with me and delegates to me, you know, things that I need to be doing.
And how does that translate to how you supervise people that you manage? Who do you, like, do you manage like the managers of the residential home? Okay, so we had them in our training.
I manage the managers and the nursing.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier for me to manage the nursing supervisor for a couple of reasons. Number one, I am a nurse. And number two, she's in the same office as me. The managers are out in their homes and in different places. So it's a challenge to manage people that you don't always get to see every day. So that's my challenge.
That's why we have those scheduled right now.
I schedule manager meetings, and our manager meetings are like the second Tuesday. They do have to get bumped sometimes based on what's going on, because our manager meeting was yesterday, actually, and we all come together. We try to do it in person, and I do have an agenda, but no, I don't send it out in advance like I should.
Well, this is just, we're talking about these things just so that we can be mindful, like if your director is leading by example of having certain things set up, you aren't leading by example for your supervisors. The managers certainly feel lost and confused a lot of the time, it sounds like. How do we think our employees feel? Like if we can't get ourselves together, they are just probably lost.
Yeah, and I think there's really something to be said about having a set time, even if it's not every week, but maybe every other week, to have that set time where I know I have my supervisor's undivided attention versus constant pop-ups all day long. I think we get caught in that trap of a constant, oh, I'll just go ask my supervisor now, just pick up the phone, ask now. And then we don't get any real work done because we're constantly, oh, I'll just ask, I'll just do. Some of those things can wait until this undivided time.
Saves emails.
It saves walking up and down the hall or the whatever, turning the check, lights here in office. But I know when I'm with Amy, she's mine. There's nobody else. She's just mine. And nobody's walking in. No, it's so. I think there's really something to be said, and I do the same thing with Shannon. If it can wait, I let it wait.
That's why I do like a running agenda for both that, and a lot of us should expect our staff to come to the table with an agenda.
Thursday and have this spot 2 to 2, start at 2 to 2:15 is dining service. From 2:20 to 2 whatever is the next. They have a standing agenda that they bring with them. So ask certain questions like what keeps you coming to work daily? How are you adjusting in your role? How is your staffing in your department? Just those things, and what can I do to support you better? And then leave a space on the agenda so they can tell me anything else and tell me. That they can write it down, forget it.
So that does bring up the topic, and I've had another director in the past who said you are required to bring an agenda item, or at least one agenda item, to our supervision. And it could be as simple as, what's the new program that just came out? I don't understand enough about it. What's going on with this? I saw your email, it really confused me or it stressed me out. They require some agenda items, at least one, that they are invested in the supervision just as much as you have put time and effort into that supervision by preparing an agenda. So those are just some tips, thoughts to get you going. I'm not going to read these time management tips. I think you guys probably pretty decent at time management. How do you feel you are with your time management? Good. I got a thumbs up. I always tell people take a break when you need it. I don't create lists and I don't prioritize those lists because I'll spend more time creating and prioritizing than doing the tasks. And see, like that, it just doesn't work for me. When we say take breaks, make sure you take your lunch. A lot of us work from home or on the go, traveling. It's so important to your health and well-being that you take time out of your day to do that if you can. Well, you should, not if you can't do it. Limiting email time, setting expectation for your team members. Sometimes if we've got team members that are constantly coming to us, be that supervisors, managers, what? Oh, for sure. And there's always going to be exceptions. Like your email, your job may be through email. The majority of the work that you do is through email. Yeah, incredible team is always check email. QAs, usually I'm always checking, my email's always refreshing.
You're right, but this is something that I struggle with, that Shannon struggled with. It comes through. I got to do it right now.
Yes,
we work on it together. But you know what? That can wait. It's Friday. That can wait till Monday.
Oh, if anyone submitted a delete service request, let's go wait till next week.
Yeah, we work on it together and we support each other through that. So
our staff struggle. So we find out where we struggle, where you guys are struggling, or what doesn't make sense for you, and openly talk about those struggles with your teams, with your managers, with your supervisors, and hear how they feel. Because if you guys can work on improving your skills just as a network of management, figuring out how to support your teams of people who are out there doing the work, trying to get by, but also trying to manage how do they create boundaries and practice time management.
We told every group that we met with to get some feedback from the staff that they supervise on what they're struggling with, either in your program or agency-wide. So they can filter it up to ultimately you guys and to the directors. Because if we don't know about it, there's nothing we can do about it.
So we're genuinely trying. We've heard very consistent things.
Training, which is why you're here today.
Supervision, things like that. Those are our staff are struggling, and our managers, supervisors seem like they were in a better place than our managers. Our 3 cohorts of managers, they seem to be struggling a bit. We'll get to why too in a minute. Do you have anything else before we move on? Okay, we'll ponder on it while we laugh at some response etiquettes. When they told me, when Shakita said, hey, you've been told to do this presentation, and the first thing she said was on like email etiquette. I was like, me, really? Brittany will be the first to call me out when I send an email. She's like, you were hot during that email, weren't you? It came out a little sharp. Yes. Yeah. Well, you see somebody has 5 emails. So
just Carrie in the beginning when I started laughing out loud, that and Stephanie in our office, and we both were like, well, are you mad at somebody? Because that typewriter is getting beat on. That's why I laughed so hard at that one, because it's classic.
So I always, when they told me this, I was like, let me look at like how I'm doing. I'm not doing. I don't generally use any of these phrases, and so I picked some of my favorite ones from like this board that I saw that I thought really got me going. Because one of the ones that I really get stuck on is per my last email. We did have a supervisor who was like, I say that a lot, blah, blah, and that's okay. None of these are wrong. But sometimes it's how you say it. It's the relationship you have with the person you're sending the email to. It's the context of what you're emailing back and forth about. For my last email, can you read? Can you not read? You didn't read? You don't know how to read? Maybe you're illiterate? I don't know. It could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Per my last email, there are other ways to put that, like, I know you're busy. I did send an email about this on blah, blah, blah date. Sometimes we can say it like that. If you get the same email 3 times, maybe you need to pick up the phone and just call them and say, hey, I've sent this email. I don't know if you've seen it. I know you keep asking for it. I keep sending it to you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
People don't like that. I don't know why.
People don't like that because it says, I know I'm not wrong. And there's
I don't agree, because if I'm saying that, that's usually like, please tell me if I have this thing not right. When I say it, I guess, I don't.
So every group has felt differently about managers. Like, you know, this is so true. Supervisors, like, we do some of these. You guys might be like, we do some of these. And none of these are wrong, but we really get into the feeling of my relationship with you. And Shannon Saunders was a really good one, and I brought it up when she was in the training because I felt like I could. There are certain people in the agencies that their job is to find errors and to fix them, right? Yes, to mitigate them. That is their job. And so automatically, when you get an email from certain people, it could be the director, it could be QA, it could be Mitzi, it could be Shannon. You already are set up in like a defensive way that how you read it is going to come across poorly.
But the response and reaction of the individual, I would say as of late, and I've been here about 5 it seems like everybody's on every email.
Everybody, we do get into that. We do get into that.
Everybody.
Take off everybody unnecessary.
Like every firm that I have, my director is like, why?
Well,
because I would think if my director is on an email, that makes it high priority.
And there are some, and there's
versus the email, and I'm like, that could have just been.
And those are conversations that we can have with the directors, because there are some directors, perhaps like yours, and I'm saying perhaps, whether I know the answer or not, that like to be in the know, that want to be in the know, that don't want to be left out of things when there's a situation or a directive or an encounter going on. So some would not be happy if something came up or something didn't get done and they weren't even aware it happened or was a request. It happened. Okay, we've got 3 hands. That's the purpose of this, is to talk about these things. Alicia. Yes.
I'm not here. If you had a situation,
correct. Yeah, my team does the same generally.
I told Lara and everything. It's not because I know she gets tons of emails. It's not because of, I have to. It's because I like for her to know, just in case if I'm not present, then she could handle the situation. Vice versa, she would. I like the emails. I guess, and I guess
your relationship with your director,
your reasoning matters. Because my relationship has always been healthy with any leadership that I've ever had, even prior to being here. So that's never an issue of concern. My only thing is I pride myself on the reason you have me here is for a reason.
Yeah.
So I rather let me do my job. So when I want to take the work out of it for you as best I can. So it needs to only escalate to you as needed. If there is an issue of concern, that's why I am here to be able to debt that. Now I know what's beyond me or above me, and that's when I'll bring you in. But directors already have enough on their plate. That's why you have a clinical admin. So I guess that's what I pride myself on. It has nothing to do with my relationship with my director or what have you. But that's just with me. No matter who my director is, it could be you, Amy, or Lara. I'm going to say the same thing. I want to put out my fires, and then and it's nothing wrong with if I just say, listen, this is what's coming down the pipe. I'll update you. That kind of thing. But yeah, how I am.
I'm going to tell you, with the Credible team, we are offenders of that purpose. We put the immediate
everybody.
Everybody, if you give me a percent, you know, everybody knows.
Every response, we always include the immediate supervisor.
And it may be the wrong supervisor, because it's wrong.
Go back to pronouns. But, do that, started doing that probably about a year or so ago, because we really felt like when the manager wasn't included, the employee who asked the first question wasn't tending or following our instructions. And we had to start including the manager. And then if we felt like it wasn't going beyond the manager, that they were escalating it like you, then you're thrown on it. So we just made the decision that it's across the board. We're not going to pick and choose. Oh, for this person, you have to do the manager. We can't have anything first. So everybody, immediate supervisor, is automatically on all of our emails. We also were getting a very clear sense that these are just doing whatever they want and never telling their manager, hey, I don't really know what to do. They're not going to their manager and asking for help. And they're just, we felt like they're bypassing y'all. And we felt like, no, we could pull people's managers in because I really sense that they're bypassing. They can't do that. So that's why we do that. So if you're getting them from us, that's wrong.
I'll say because of that, this might be wrong, but I don't like to be on nobody's radar. No, there's nothing wrong. I don't like. Yeah, you want to be kept off. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll tell them, you don't need to email Credible until I know what's going on, so I can grab it if that needs to be.
Guys, really do feel like they're bypassing.
Nobody wants to feel bypassed. Michelle, you know, I had a situation where where case managers are coming to me, and I don't mind it with them asking me questions, but when there's an issue, and sometimes a high profile issue that's really service impacting, and I'm like, did you talk to about this? I told so and so, but then I called. Well, I'm gonna talk to Michelle about it and see what Michelle's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Those are problems.
I think it's two separate. I think that when you are like Credible or from a QA, makes a lot of have the direct manager on the email. But yeah, I think that's a communication that we can all kind of agree on. That's kind of standard. But I think that there's also this almost like more commando type spiciness that comes from, well, I'm going to add your manager in.
And I'm going to take them out. I like to look at who I'm replying to. Yeah. Don't reply all if you don't need to. I take people out. You added them, I'm going to take them out. Yeah. What did they achieve? Like, what did they achieve?
Oh, our reasoning, like as admins, we may know our reasoning for telling our supervisor to include us on an email. But to their subordinates, does that undermine their authority?
Who's the biggest offender? If you were to name the biggest offender of like adding a bunch of extra people, what level would that be? Would it be the employee? Would it be manager, supervisor, director? What level is the biggest offender in doing that you see? That just adds people. Okay. Okay, we started. I got a fun to think about that.
I got a Tuesday yesterday that was sent to the Credible team, other people. It should not have even come to us. And I actually sent out to my staff and said, to disregard it, do not respond to this. Shouldn't have come here. There were all sorts of people on today.
All right, we're gonna move on so we don't run out of time. Yeah, right. You will get this PowerPoint, so I'm not gonna read all of these. But proofreading, it seems simple, but it is not for a lot of our staff, whether that's an incident report. I mean, literally anything. You'd think some of our staff did not know how to read and write. Please help them improve their skills. If you see it, how can you improve it in your management team? How can you improve? Like, we had one manager who said, my team is responsible for sending things to lawyers, to the court, to probation. And I stopped it when I saw how atrocious their writing was. And now the writing comes to me first. And then I proofread it, and then I give them the okay to send out. Sometimes you have to do that.
I think what helps, honestly, and I had to learn this as in having to lead for a long time, we got to stop taking things personally.
Because it's not everything is. Yeah.
Correct. And as the human part, we take it, we want to take it because I think like Ronald just said, because like we want to own it. That's why we're here for. And then the day, sometimes we feel challenged because when you start seeing like your exact name on some of the emails, it's almost like, well, why was the person there? Like what was it's the reason to put him there is because like, it's like, I'm trying to now trigger that you're not doing something, or this was the first email. So it's almost like, to stop that, stop taking everything personally, continue to do what you're doing, and then kind of go from there. But
So a lot of us laugh just from directors speaking. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when I communicated with other boards and other like regional meetings, and we're being recorded, and he might see it, and that's okay. He knows how I feel. Our executive director is included on like a ton of emails and heavily involved in everything. And it's not that way in a lot of other boards and CSBs. The exec is more far removed, and the directors, our administrators are taking the lead, making decisions. Of course, it still rolls up to them, but they're not as heavily involved. And so so you read the tone. Why is this person on this email? Why are they included in this? And of course, when you add certain people, like our executive director, more directives come as a result, or unintended consequences of adding somebody else in. And those are really like what at least I see as those unintended consequences of, hey, I'm going to loop them in because if you didn't know, that's okay. And then that person is just like irate about like just happened on us last week. So it just happened. The only other ones I really want to touch on is the signature block. Please, if you don't have a signature block, put one on.
phone number.
With a phone number that works. I told residential, don't put the house because nobody answers. Or if I answer, I get 20 questions about who you are, where you work. And I'm like, just give me somebody. On your work phone too. It just say send from iPhone. Everybody has an iPhone. I know when you're like texting from your phone or sending email from your phone. Please, if you have one, have your supervisor, have your manager, do a little in service in a manager's meeting or a team meeting, the holiday Christmas team meeting. But that signature's out there. It's for everyone who does it. We really need it. And out of offices are nice. It's really hard when we get complaints. I haven't heard from my case manager. I haven't heard from somebody. And I didn't know they were on maternity leave. They've been gone for a month. Out of the office voicemails on your work phone. And then Amy let me know because that happened. She's talking about Thor. We had a regular time. No, but she went out early. But they can't phone your. I don't know that because she went out early. And I was like, well, Amy, how would I have put it out of office? And Amy let me know that can be done. Look, I did it. I went on vacation. I put my out of the office in. I don't know what I did, but it did not populate. And I was literally in the Magic Kingdom, like, Brittany, I need you to get data or something. I need help like right now because my iPhone is not up. And you took care of it for me. It was already written. I don't know what I did and why it wasn't up there, but
MIT do it completely because that's been our situation with Erica, and I know Shannon sent a ticket about it, David, because we wanted to get one out. I think we've sent,
even if it's just brief, like I'm out of the office, we'll get back to you when I can, like anything.
We sent something out to like the key people who we know ought to send her stuff that they wanted, but I know she submitted a ticket about it, and then she's even asked HR, can she just log in really quickly to put in her out of office? She's going to be out for 3 months.
It's important. Those are important things. I do have like a rule that if I've gone back and forth with someone like 3 times in an email, like a genuine rule, if I've gone back and forth with you 3 times in an email and I don't understand what you're trying to say, you don't understand me, we're going to pick up that phone, but I need a phone number. I do not want to have to go through the multi-factor authentication in Kronos to get a phone number. That might not be. Hopefully it is. I haven't run across like non-current ones. For agency, I don't ever call personal, but agency. And again, not everyone has an agency phone. So an accessible phone. I try and get people at the CRC, like, do you have a cell phone number instead of like the main CRC phone number? Things like that are helpful. If I want to reach you, because I want to resolve it. I don't want it sitting out there. So those are just some different things. Really, replying all, take out people you don't need. But have that conversation with your directors about like, why are you always on all these emails? This is how it makes me feel. And maybe there's a reason. I don't know. But the most important thing I want to touch on is confidentiality. Your work laptops, your work phones. We say they're confidential, but did you know like David can access everything anytime, anywhere, any place? He's not paying attention right now. He's not himself. Really, it's so important because we get dozens of medical record requests. And those aren't just disability, those are from attorneys, those are subpoenas for records. And I've had a few now that they want, all the medical records from the client, but then they want any written email or text correspondence with or about the individual. Try to fight that for a minute. They also had like notebooks. We did get away with like, if it's an agency notebook that the agency purchased this agency property and should be turned over. But we got away with not doing anything like that because it's for a therapist. But it's really important that they recognize what they do on their phones, what they do on their laptops, what they're putting in Credible, in email. People can see. We're a small agency. Use of humor. We've had people who will joke or whatever, say something, but it gets around. We're like an agency 800, but we're actually really small. So just being really mindful of that, talking to your staff about that because things happen. So 10, 15 minutes. Maybe. We're going to talk about interagency networking and collaboration. So silos. What is a silo? Other than something holds like brain. What is a silo?
Sounds the place for talking.
Or? Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
it's a what? Okay. Great. So this has been a hot topic. It's been a hot topic. Can anyone other than Courtney and maybe Mitzi raise their hand and maybe Heather that could name me at least 15 of our 109 programs in this agency? Or maybe anonymous. Okay. At least 15, not licenses, talking program. Yeah. Okay, good. I would expect it. That's good. That's probably 15. Yeah. That is a good thing. Not a single one of our management meetings had more than, what would you say, a couple? None. Oh yeah, managers were like none. None of your managers could name. I have supervisors and managers that were like, I can name like 2.
How many programs do you think we have?
Well, we know we have about, are you asking me?
I'm just asking.
Well, I did say it. I already said if anyone was listening. Those are cost centers, yeah. Right. About 109, give or take. We just added one. Who can tell me what the newest program that was just added last Wednesday is? I'm sorry? Betty Jo? Yeah. Yeah. What does it stand for? We're good at acronyms. Oh, we're not good at names. Thank you, Brittany Johnson.
That's not much.
So he went to the agency. Does anyone know anything about it? What locality is it really housed out of?
Step down from crisis.
Do you know how many supervisors and managers hadn't even seen the email, hadn't read the email, didn't know anything about it? Yeah. So what are you going to do about something like that? What do you need to do as an administrator, knowing that your supervisors and none of the managers had any clue about this program, had very minimal clue about the programs that we offer this agency, other than anyone tied to service access and finding its administrative places?
It's not always great reception. But some of the things that we talked about was requiring like either first 15 minutes of your day, last 15 minutes of your day, looking at your email.
So that's like a pretty consistent issue of people not checking their emails. We do have an agency policy on that. Can anyone tell me what the agency policy says on checking emails?
So
When's the shift?
they put your 24 hours, you're hit people on weekends.
So it's once a shift is required. So we know our staff struggle with gathering information from email. So then my question to challenge you is, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. What if you left new programs, agency program updates as like a standing agenda item? Something. We know they're not reading our, like that is like a, we know that none of the managers are, or they don't pay attention. Maybe they're reading it and they glazed over it, you know, because it's like, oh, another program, another acronym, you know, it's important.
Now, on the other hand, we're saying they're not spending enough time on their emails.
What are they doing? What are they doing to be productive on those emails? Are they paying attention? How many of you thoroughly read Mitzi's emails when she sends all user emails out? Not gonna be offended. Thoroughly emails.
I do, Mitzi, I promise.
It's hard.
On chapter 3.
You know what? I read the email this morning. So we talk about reading our emails, and we read them. We probably do read our emails, but are we understanding them? And so challenging you and challenging your staff, challenging your managers, and then the employees, because genuinely, like, does anyone in the room feel genuinely like confused about what's happening in the agency? 90% of the time, at least. Like genuinely confused. What a bit.
We also ask the managers and or supervisors as well what they knew or had they ever heard of 988 and CCBHC.
You'd be surprised. These managers.
None of the managers. None of them all glazed over like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone had managers in these trainings throughout 3 days.
And even the supervisors, supervisors in there that didn't have a clue. That all goes back to not reading their emails. Demetrius sent several emails out about CCBHC and 988. Stacy sent emails out about 988. Brandon sent emails out about both 988 and CCBHC and let staff know that they could find the minutes from those meetings on SharePoint.
So we can say the directors may not do the most diligent job of passing down information, but a lot of it's available, and it's how much effort you guys put into getting that information out. And the supervisors, the managers are saying that's like minimal. I think they really are saying, and it's not like one or two, it's like a very consistent.
It's probably just, I think a lot of managers might be thinking, well, it went out, so I don't have to address it. You do have to address it. If people,
you guys answered that your staff don't check emails,
yeah,
you want to address it somehow.
I think, you know, people think it doesn't pertain to me. They see 988, oh, I'm not in a crisis program. CCHC, oh, how's that going to affect me to address my staff? So I'm just going to tell me the workflow to follow. So they ain't going to read it.
The budget's not going to get. I don't think it's 126. That's not bother.
I think it is our job to make sure that, did you see that? Do you have questions about that? Do we need to get more information to see how that actually affects you? You know, it affects some people and others. Are there questions?
Emails, like those all user emails, if you guys are reading them, which I'm going to assume you guys are thoroughly reading your email. Events, things like that.
We asked how many people in the managers meetings know about the board drive.
Nobody.
That's in emails and on the Chronos pop-up. So they're just clicking off the Chronos pop-up as well.
They use those emails as like an agenda.
There were numerous emails that went out about the coalition, and we had staff.
I like to use,
we did that.
Like if you use an email, say something that looks important or something you guys want to talk about and highlight in your agenda. If you guys say you all received the email on such and such date from so and so, please review it. Please be prepared with at least one question pertaining to this for our next meeting.
Consistency or expectation that manager meetings, agendas, or supervision agendas, or whatever, have a certain format. We all follow the same thing.
You know that we have a supervision format?
We're not. Are we using it?
You know, Demetra pushed out a supervision format.
Yeah.
Brandon pushed out a supervision format that we all must.
We all should have to use it, and then we should expect that
You're going to ask me pushed out with our supervision policy.
you're gonna ask to see mine periodically, or that we'll have to use these teams and set up agendas that way. We all have to, so that also that way, when we go, we hop around from supervisor to supervisor because we all move way too much. It's consistent. I don't have to relearn a whole new. That way, all the correct information. I think if I just call me on it, yeah, I haven't done it. My 2 cents.
Resounding all the trainings about programs. Staff are not well educated on all programs that we offer here. That's one thing that we need to fix that. We have to fix that. You know, we have case managers that are working with clients every day. They need to know what other services that Western Tidewater provides that they don't even have to refer their clients out to another source because we offer that.
We hear that we need to use consistent language. Someone hears day support program and they might think PSR, they might think MSO. They don't realize that they're two totally different groupings of individuals.
So we're not touching that in new staff, and I know new staff has to be. I know it has to flow because it's a lot.
Them paper. We give them a list of all the programs and a brief 2-sentence of what that program is.
That's being.
We cannot go over all 125 programs or an orientation. So some of that's on the manager when they do the training or whoever they designated the manager to. But again, the manager can't go over 125 programs either. So but we've got to come up with some way to get our staff educated on these programs.
We've heard some different recommendations. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead right there.
I was just gonna say, I'm newer and I've been struggling to figure out, like, I know that list you're talking about. But it's like 2 lines, like you said, but then there's nobody to contact. Like, I don't know.
Like a virtual Rolodex.
Give us something, because there's nothing, and I'm like trying to go on SharePoint, and then I look in Chronos. Oh, great, here's a workflow, or not a workflow. Yeah, work chart, but then it's fine. I'm like, I know my people, like, I'm trying to find, just don't know where to find that information.
We and directors have to stop with the excuses of what we can't do it or finding all the problems, and we need to figure out how to make it happen. And so that's really what we're looking at. The issue is actually something's coming out about this, so you guys will see what I'm
And by the time you get, over that program, they are all. So that's the main issue. And so that's the main issue. Is like, as soon as you get used to something, it changes. So if the changes kind of slow down a little bit.
I have heard, I think it was Brandon who told me. We are coming up with something through the communications project with Beth that a lot of people in here have been involved in. She is actually pushing out some new technology to assist us with a digital Rolodex. So that is actually being worked on. We will actually see that very soon. It's going to be tied to Chronos. It's going to be pulling from Chronos. Again, it puts pressure on HR.
So it puts pressure on you guys and the other directors to get the information to us. So we have to get Chronos.
Team effort. So
and that will performance eval. You can't move anybody in Chronos. Performance eval.
So it will be coming. It will be tied through Chronos. I'm gonna hit Courtney and then I'll hit Casey.
So talking about like the silos, I think like even for service access, we directly onboard the services. We are not communicating with any kind of change until one of these steps is something wrong. So we've noticed that we're trying to bring every single program in, like every quarter or so, into our group supervision to talk, because that's the only way we're updated. But yet we're directly onboarding to these people. So it gets
big hear about the changes before you then, because when we audit, we send them to the wrong person. Trust me, that director can let me know.
Yeah, it's really frustrating because then it impacts our clients that we're putting them with the wrong employees or whatever the case is. But it's like that's literally the only time I can say with Skip, we've had ongoing communication and it's been running so much more smoothly. But it's like that's the only time that we're given updates. So it gets really, really difficult to do our jobs. And then we get called out on not doing our jobs.
And I have preached in almost every one of these that service access is the space where they are the most knowledgeable about our programs. And you guys are the most knowledgeable about our program. And internal referrals may be changing at some point, you know. I think internal referrals is a great opportunity for your staff who make a referral, who maybe don't understand or don't know, for internal referrals to use that as an opportunity to say, hey, I know you referred to this, but they also really do benefit from the X, Y, and Z that they're not enrolled in. Or this isn't an appropriate, here, let me make some recommendations. Here's some services we offer. That's what I want to see about intent. That's what I want. Go ahead, Casey.
The thought, what if we were to group, we don't want to do 125 of these, but if we were to group together programs and come up with a, like a reliable PowerPoint training?
Yeah, we'd have to change it or update every time a new program gets added, but it could be something that someone could undertake.
That is like cost centers, and a lot of those cost centers are actually grouped.
So I'm just talking like just our programs, like our programs, not all the different random names, incredible, but like just our programs would be something
like Skip. But Skip has, right, but Skip has multiple content. Well, the day-to-day, the manager, all they know is I need school-based services. Not necessarily I need number 758. I need school-based services because that's how they operated Incredible. So it's Skip.
Well, it's also with your
services because they aren't actually grouped.
But if they send something to finance and they just say Skip, the finance has to turn around and
but that's in their program versus outside of the Skip program. They don't have to know all that. It's just, we have school-based services that encompasses these mentoring outreach, and that's all they want.
One of the unique natures of our agency just in general compared to other boards is both our local and regional programs. And, you know, I've heard in other meetings that we kind of feel like two separate agencies. We've got all the stuff for regional. We've got all the stuff for our staff now snacks, good opportunity, get snacks, breaking.
I want to, you want to?
We've got regional and then we have local, and it really, you know, it can be a lot and it can be overwhelming. And so we do need to come up with some ways to break down that confusion because, like I said, our managers, our supervisors are heavily confused. You guys less so, which is really comforting, honestly. It really comforting that you guys are less confused than most. But how do we get your less confusion to the supervisors, to the managers, and then to our employees, who really are the ones suffering at the end of the day? Like, you know, we want to retain them, we want to keep them.
I think it's some frustration for me because just when I was a manager, I feel like, and for my team too, and I tell them this supervision, I just had a certain level of, I don't know, I think I was more motivated to find answers. Yeah. And so if I didn't know something, I wouldn't go to my supervisor. You know what I mean? Like I would take out things and I would network. And I know it was a little bit different because a lot of stuff I did was, you know, before COVID. But even now, you know, I would reach out to people. If I had a client that needed something, I would ask around.
Well, I think we did that before where we do have some less motivated staff who don't want to take that initiative to go find it. I know. I think they use that. I know.
And so I think even with two individual supervisions with my team, the management, my team, a lot of people playing, just for example, my ACC team, we have some deficits with staffing. And so a reason for not wanting to be a manager or fill a role is because I have to do the role. Well, you can still be a manager while you're filling in and doing therapy. You know what I mean? So it's just this lack of motivation that bothers me. So just trying to find a balance between that. And so they know more than they say they do, but it's just this lack of motivation. And then being able to work from home. And then being able to work, right, and then being able to work from home. I have one
that, you know, would prefer to spend time with their baby, which is great, right? But, you know, you're correct, which I told her that too. So it's those things that
It's a privilege.
it is.
We have a lot of
It is.
providers to make a requirement that the staff fit, even if it's just a day or 2 a week. They require it because of
Right.
work performance.
Which is what I told her, right? So that, I mean, so those are the things that
Finding space for them is not space, but make them come in, not necessarily as a punishment, but as like, I need to see your productivity increase. Let's trial this. Again, we've heard from the supervisors and managers, we don't want to lose our staff. We're not disciplining, we're not writing up, we're not. Guys, we're almost done. Oh, IT's here. Because it does mean then we have commissioners have to be unmotivated,
correct.
not want to do things. We're not holding them accountable. We see this in several programs where directors, admins, supervisors aren't holding their staff as accountable as they should be because because I like them. They're doing they don't do a good job or whatever, and maybe they do, but let's face it, sometimes they just aren't doing their job.
But without just writing them up every time, you know, Shannon and I see something going on with someone, we sit down, we meet with them, we ask them, well, what do you think is going on? How can you better, how would you better understand? What do you need to build in for yourself and help get them to build that structure that they need so that they can perform better. That way it comes across as support and help, and my supervisor really wants me to learn versus, oh, okay, you did it again, got to write your up. I think it's like people go right.
It should never be a surprise for people.
Right.
They still act
one extreme to the other.
At the last time you getting like a letter of caution, but I'm of the belief that disciplinary action, not performance growth plans, disciplinary action should never be a surprise to your staff.
Oh yeah.
It should never be, and not everybody's of that belief. Sometimes we do, like your staff have done something wrong, and you have to like immediately go ahead and into like a group 2 or group 3, like it happens. But especially those letters of caution. If you've seen the same issue multiple times and you've done performance growth plan after performance growth plan, nobody wants to sit in front of Demetria and say, oh, well, I didn't do a letter of caution, but I want to fire them now, or I did a letter of caution, but you didn't do anything else, and it's been going on for 6 months, and you didn't progress it. Like, disciplinary action is needed in some cases. We can't avoid poor performance just because we're short-staffed.
To Michelle's point, I think what she was saying is, you know, even you've done the growth plan, you've done the letter of caution, you've talked to them, you've tried to encourage them to work, and they just don't want to work. And it's becoming more and more prevalent with today's workforce is they just want to draw a paycheck. They don't want to do anything for that paycheck. Some of them don't even want to come to work, much less do anything when they get here.
Everybody suffers when one person on an already strapped team doesn't do their job. So, all right, well, that is, you know, we're hoping that you guys can, and I've already gotten a few emails about it, take things back to your supervisors, your managers, and any of those team meetings that you have, your employees, if you have like a smaller team, and talk about some of the fundamental issues that you guys see, that they see. And feel free to send me an email, Lara and I both an email of areas or recommendations that you guys have, because confusion is a huge thing throughout the whole agency. For me, I literally was shocked at how confused everybody is. And what we can do about it, because we are trying to change, we are trying to improve. That wasn't actually the intent of this training, I don't think, but it sort of developed as I made it. And I was like, this is going to be a hot topic. And I probably spent like a whole hour on just silos, and I spent an hour and a lot more minutes. So, on this presentation, but I really appreciate everybody being involved and interested. And you see why I really want you to be able to have an open conversation, and in a place that, you know, we can just really talk about some of the main issues. And then I'll be creating my own presentation for the directors about overarching issues, and then hopefully ways we can change and see where that goes. So sorry if it wasn't the intent, Chiquita, of the presentation, but it's sort of where we ended up, and I'm like conversing out of like just training. Vonda has one last question to close us out.
What is the best way to communicate, being that everything, how it comes to Chronos as far as the reporting thing? What's the best way to communicate with you all when the hierarchy has changed and
Send us a new org chart. That's how we make our changes in Chronos. Every time we get a new org chart, that's when we go in Chronos and make our changes. But we are really interested in if you guys or your managers or your supervisors have any suggestions on the communications part, other than an all users email that we've all just discovered that nobody's reading. So if you guys have any suggestions on how we can get information disseminated throughout the agency, filtered all the way down to the staff, please let Chiquita, me, or Amy know, so we can take that back. Right now, all users email is what we got for information. So if the staff are not reading the emails, it's really kind of defeating the purpose. So any suggestions you guys might have on how better to disseminate that information would be appreciated.